So on the 15th of November, I started a Pokemon card business selling Korean cards and also some Japanese cards from London, UK. And this is how I got on in my first full month. So in December, and also to date. So to date, we've had 205 orders, totaling around £9,400. And the majority of that was in the last month, so December, busiest month of the year, which was 196 of those orders, and just over £9,200 on the websites. There's some others to do on eBay, some sold in person. And so it took roughly in December, we did 5 figures, which I was obviously quite happy about. And this is just going to be a recap of some considerations, some sort of lessons from this first month, from doing that many orders, from starting a Pokemon card business, and also some sort of areas to move into in the future. And so I've just got a few notes. I'll just go through them sort of point by point. So first was really staying in stock. And I think it's always going to be a challenge at the start to stay in stock, because you are waiting for money to come in. And so with Shopify, which is where I sell most of my things, it is about a 3-day wait period, 3 working day wait period, which isn't too bad. It's not bad at all, really. eBay is a little bit longer, so you've got to wait for delivery, and then it's about 24 hours after that. So pretty good as well. TikTok was a new one that I started selling to in probably the last 2 weeks of December, or the last week of December. And I sort of regret selling on there, because it meant that I sold out very quickly but didn't have the money available. And availability of money and having sort of good cash flow is really one of the biggest deals. So I think I actually won't be selling on TikTok Shop at all going into the future, despite the fact that there's a very high turnover rate. You don't have the customers, and there's a turnover in product, not a lot of turnover in cash, because at the start when you're selling, it's delivery plus 15 days, which is crazy. Time to get more money in. Shortens down to delivery plus 3 days, which to be honest is fine, but still not something really interested in. Is it would probably be about 5-6 days at the very least. A benefit of TikTok Shop is that they come to pick up, so delivery is free, and they come pick it up and take it to where it needs to go. Although it hasn't been so great over the Christmas period, I had a lot of delayed orders with TikTok Shop. Maybe that's just sort of my area, my depot. So having good cash flow, really important for that. Depending on your point of sale, so where you're selling, makes a big difference. Shopify for me is the best, quickest turnover. Be with PayPal, which is instant, although they do hold it for a period if you are a new business account, and that helps with staying in stock. But the other aspect of that is having a reliable supplier who will ship out stock when you order it. Not that they will take your money and then say, oh, we've got problems getting this. That can really delay things as well for you, and then you've got money tied up, which isn't going anywhere. So sort of paying when your supplier is ready to ship, and managing your stock. So sort of when you go down to 50%, then you're buying more stock. I'm still not doing that. That is sort of the ideal scenario. But at the moment, it's sort of, because you don't just want it to be that when the funds come in, you buy a case and then you get that in, because you get a discount if you buy 3 cases, 5 cases, 10 cases. So it's sort of, how much money do I want to accrue, do I want to build up, and then go and spend it to get the discounts, managing the fact that I might go out of stock. And it's always disappointing when you are out of stock for customers. So one thing you can do is put in back orders. That was something that I did with Super Electric Break in Korean, putting back orders, and then basically sold out as soon as it arrived, which is great because it's a good way to get capital in and then be able to put it to work before you even get the product. So that's a way to buy yourself time in terms of buy more. Another thing obviously is going on credit. Although with most things being a wire transfer, if you're buying Korean or Japanese product, then you have the added fees of a cash-like transaction. So be careful when you're getting a credit card to look for these things in terms of cash-like transactions. That will be a wire transfer. So if you were using Wise or something of that nature, then which most Japanese and Korean sellers use or wholesalers use. So that's something to be considerate of when you're getting a credit card. And your cash limit is often different to your full credit limit. So these are just things to keep in mind when you're buying a credit card, although there are very good 0% interest on purchase fees if you do buy credit cards. So that can be something to look out for as well, as a way to get a more reasonable time as opposed to just a very 30-day interest-free period on credit. So something to keep in mind for that. Another thing I would say that is tied into that is trying to build up a catalog of products rather than keeping what you have in stock. So I maybe sort of regret branching into Japanese too early, and I think I should have just stuck with Korean. So buying some cases of Paradise Dragoner, buying some cases of Super Electric Breaker as well. I think I should have just parked, because you need a bit more capital to play with in terms of Japanese if you want to start getting discounts and being a top seller in your distributor's eyes, which is important if you want to get pre-orders, if you want to get good prices, if you want to get good discounts, and if you want to get good service. These are all important things to build up credibility with a distributor, and the way you build up credibility is repeat orders of high volume. So starting out, it's much easier to do that with Korean, as the price point is cheaper, and so that's what I would recommend for anyone starting out. Obviously, English is a lot further down the line. If you want to do brick and mortar, then English is possible. But if you just want to sell online, then Korean, probably your best bet. Can easily build up capital, stay focused, build up that, and then branch out into Japanese. So I will be staying a bit more focused on Korean and not trying to branch out as much into Japanese. Not trying to diversify at this stage, but focus on building up a niche, getting sort of awareness for that, putting money into that, and then branching out when I've got more capital to play with and am able to get better prices from Japanese distributors. Because the other aspect of that is that it's more competitive. So for Korean, it was quite easy for me to undercut everybody because prices weren't very competitive. Not a lot of people selling Korean. For Japanese, lots of people selling Japanese. Very hard to undercut them. And if you do, you're talking about tiny margins. So it's hard to build up your capital and to build up your stock and your inventory because you're not making good margins. So unless you've got another income coming in, it's difficult to build up stock. Something that did help in terms of cash flow was going into business to business. So having rip and shippers reach out to me, people who want to open packs, and one, I can give them the discount rate, and two, they're paying bank transfer. So it is much quicker to get the money in. You get standing orders, so you know that it's going to be consistent cash flow, provided you can keep getting the product. It's also a win-win for everybody. If they do better, they buy more stock from you. If you do better, you have more stock to sell them. So it's very nice to have this sort of symbiotic relationship where you're both reliant on each other. You both want each other to do well, and you are incentivized to grow their business, to give them the best deal so they can pass down to their customers, they get more interest, and then they can grow. So that is a good avenue to explore. I'm not going to sort of go completely into business to business. One, I enjoy making videos on TikTok and on Instagram, sort of creativity in terms of marketing and ads. That's very fun. So I do like the just sort of direct to consumer way of doing things, but business to business is also an option. And if you want to set up a business and just target rip and shippers, DM them and say, hey, I think I can beat your current prices, have a look, then that is a perfectly viable way of going about things. And something that I would actually recommend because it's quite easy in terms of cash flow, less headaches in terms of dealing with customers, especially if it's domestically, especially if it's international. That is a nightmare. International shipping, I've considered so many times this month whether I should just scrap international shipping. And by international, I mean just to Europe, because it is very hard to track and to deal with these kind of things. People get surprised by customs duties, although I sort of put it on the website, trying to make it very clear. You will have to pay duties. If anyone asks me how much is shipping internationally, I'll always tell them, you have to pay duties. Please be aware of this. And some people aren't. They're surprised by it. Luckily, some people do sort of understand that you can't pay VAT, or I can't charge you VAT if I'm not a business based in your country. So it's always going to be tagged on at customs. And international shipping is just difficult, but it is a sizable part of my business. So maybe 20-30% of my orders are international, are sort of in Europe. But I don't know. It's always sort of something that's dwelling in mind that, you have a domestic market. Clearly, I haven't tapped out that domestic market, so why branch out at this stage? But then I know there are people who want it in Europe and also in America, although I just don't think America is feasible unless you're ordering sort of cases of the product, because the shipping fees will just wipe out any margin that I have domestic competitors, as in competitors in America. So I don't think that's something that I will be be going into. Then just looking at other aspects of the business. So one thing is paid adverts that I did on Instagram, and so it's advice that I got from Pokey, which is basically that so don't make ads and then just boost them straight away, or just sort of pay for them as ads, but upload your reels, upload them organically. If you're doing enough volume, some of them will get hits. Some of them you'll see, okay, this got 2,000, 3,000 views. Now I'm going to boost it and see what it can do. And maybe I'm going to put £8 into it. £2 for 4 days, Friday to Monday, see what happens. If it gives me a good cost per click rate. So some of my better ones were 6 pence, which was pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that for a cost per click. So those are, you can like, okay, these are good. Maybe now I want to spend £5 for 7 days. I want to do a whole week of adverts for this. And so that is something just to keep in mind. Test your adverts, don't just throw money at them. Does this content do well organically? Okay, I'll consider boosting it. Did this do well boosted? Now that I can actually see the ad insights, okay, now I'm going to put a bit more money into it. Consider when you are boosting it. Friday to Sunday, probably the best time. Most people will see it, most people are interested in buying. So the timing of your ads is important as well. However, all of that considered, then I just upload a reel and now it's got over 500,000 views on Instagram, and which is way more than any ad, no matter how many times I boosted it. So sometimes it just works with organic marketing. You just get lucky, something goes viral. That's sort of a bit more luck, it's a bit more flash in the pan. Whereas if you just stay consistent with volume, something does well, test with an ad. If it does well with the ad, then boost it further. And timing it when you've got stock in. So the reel that went viral was when I'd just gone out of stock over Christmas. So that was a nightmare. Fortunately, it got me lots of followers, so that's good as well. Because getting followers can also be a bonus, and it's sort of considering, what am I uploading this ad for? So for example, some ads, they maybe have a 14 pence cost per click rate, but they got me way more followers than an ad which had a 6 pence. So in some cases, having more followers is good because then you've got more future potential customers, especially if you upload your stories, then they're more likely to see it than if you just upload a reel. So having more followers, you get more guaranteed eyes on posts that you make in the future. However, you sometimes also want to make a cost per click. So you have different ads for different reasons. And as I selected ads or selected reels to boost in the future, it wasn't so much, okay, this got 2,000, 3,000 views. It was, if I gave a word comment so that I can send them a link in the DM, then that is a better indicator that a reel is doing well than just view count. It's not so much view count, it's likes, it's comments, it's shares. And considering these things and building it as a package in terms of when you're selecting which reels to do well, which reels to boost. So at the start, I was like, oh my God, a reel got 1,000 views, boost. But it didn't get the likes, it didn't get engagement, so what's the point of doing that? Or did I actually put a call to action in this? Did I upload a reel that's got 10,000 views, but there was no call to action in it? So is this actually a good reel to boost for my business? So over time, just developing a bit of nuance in terms of what you think is going to do well, is going to be good for your business, it's going to be good for the needs that you want. Do I want followers? Do I want clicks on my website? Do I want sales? Because at times you want both, or all the time you want both, because you want to reach your following, but you also want to build sales. Obviously, you're a business, that's what you do. So that's just something to keep in mind in terms of paid ads. TikTok, just not bothering with it. It's just expensive. I don't think it does as well as Instagram. It's much easier to convert on Instagram. TikTok, they want you to go to TikTok shop. If you want people to buy from your TikTok shop, yeah, TikTok's great. Boost stuff, works well. For Instagram, you can tag a product in your posts. It's great. It links straight to your website. Most of my conversions from social media is from Instagram. I found personally, for me, Instagram is the best of conversions. Instagram is where I want to put most of my time. Although obviously at this stage, I just upload on TikTok, Instagram, and then YouTube Shorts. Sort of starting with TikTok, upload, it downloads your phone, then you can upload the same video to Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So that's just what I'm doing at the moment. Have an Instagram, also the story highlight feature is really good for putting reviews. So I have reviews on Facebook, but just having a highlight of just reviews on your Instagram, just screenshots of the Facebook reviews, screenshots of DMs that people have sent you, is a really good way of going about this. And people can come to your page, they can see your reviews, click through them, see that you're legit. You've got, some pictures of you packing orders, some milestones. That's sort of what I've got there at the moment. That all works very well in terms of just a good platform for your page that is quite intuitive. People understand it, people get it, people can see it very clearly. And it's, as I said, a very intuitive way, rather than you've got all your reviews on Facebook. If you want to check out my reviews, go on Facebook, or you put them somewhere on your website. It makes sense doing it through Instagram. So happy with Instagram. It was my worst for a while, but once it sort of gets going, it gets going and is very good. Another aspect of this is then managing time. This is probably the final thing I'll talk about. But obviously when you are, I want to say solopreneur. I'm not really a solopreneur because my wife sort of helps me in terms of packing orders and things like that. But when you are packing the orders, dealing with the customer service, doing the drop-offs for delivery, sourcing inventory, sourcing packaging, considering marketing, considering sort of business strategy, where you're going to go next, it is a lot. And some days I make loads of videos and it's great because, well, maybe some people out there think it's spam, or sort of see a lot of it, but most people don't. And it's just the way to grow a following is to make content. And so when we've had really busy periods, I haven't been making content because I've been packing, I've been sort of thinking about that and dealing with people saying whether my package, mainly from Europe, although, well, it's a handful, but those handful, it's sort of it does weigh on your mind because you're thinking about, these packages can get lost, that just affects my bottom line. Whereas this parcel, you're trying to get in touch with delivery companies, especially over the Christmas period, unreachable. You can't sort of talk to a human, you call them up, it goes nowhere. You go on the online chat, it's with an AI, you come and check back, and it's like, oh, it's gone. The chat is closed because you disconnected, you weren't there. Like, what's going on? I just want to talk to someone, but it's impossible. So the customer service from delivery companies is just bad across the board. There's nothing you can do about that. It's fine, it's just, part of it. Thankfully, I'm sort of making a profit that I can afford a hit on a couple of orders. But it's something that weighs on your mind when you've got these things, and sort of adds to a little bit of stress that someone's not getting at. How can I fix this? How can I solve it? You're looking at all the different ways. Then something else pops up, oh my God, I've got to deal with this. You're getting some messages from people, I want to buy, this much. You've got to attend to this. You've got to create an invoice for that. Do this, do that. There's a lot going on, and it's hard to know where to split your time. And I think one of the things that I'm doing at the moment that I really want to change is that I will having a scheduled packing time. So let all the orders come in, then 2 p.m. I'm going to pack these orders. And then when that's done, when I'm finished, I don't care if any more orders come in later in the evening. That's it. Have time. I'm going to take all my parcels, I'm going to drop them off. And take all, in this time, I'm going to respond to messages. In this time, I'm going to make videos and then upload them throughout the day, or schedule the uploads throughout the day. So that's just something to get on top of, and to make sure that you are very disciplined in terms of what you're doing with your time. Otherwise, you will get overwhelmed. You will neglect something. I've been neglecting videos for the past 2-3 days, just focusing on packing. And that's then adds to the stress as well. It's caused by stress and it leads to stress. Because then, oh my God, I need to make videos because I'm not going anywhere. I need to sort of keep building up the following. And one of the things as well was getting a video that went very viral, and then being like, oh, okay, I can just leave this and it'll sort of keep going for a few days, so I can just forget about making more content. But that's not the way to go about it. You have to keep making more content so that you keep attracting more customers and you keep being able to sell. So that is rough ramble about what's been going on in terms of my Pokemon card business, selling cards, some insights or ideas that I've had in this first month and a half. But that way, I'm happy with where it's going. Going to the future, for January, I want to try and do £25,000 worth of sales. I would be able to, but I don't have the stock. Maybe I will have the stock. I don't know. We will see. It's hard to build up stock. It's one of the most difficult things, I think, about this business. That and getting customers. Customers are out there. If you make enough content, you will find them. They will buy from you. And people like to support businesses. So if you're personable, you give them a face, you give them someone that they can relate to, that they want to buy from. You're attuned to customer service, you listen, you try and respond quickly, try and solve the problems that are brought up, then you will do fine. but you need to maintain stock because it is very difficult. But on the other side of that, another thing to worry about is not worrying. You know, I had the stock and people were coming to the website going, "You're out of stock, what's going on?" And as a business starting out, you know, you may lose 200 people who came across your videos and saw you're out of stock. Like, what's going on here? And that's fine. There are way more than 200 people out there, and you can find another 200 to replace those once you're back in stock. So don't worry about lost customers. Just work at your own pace. Don't go into heavy debt doing this. You can't pay off. Once you see that you can make sales, you can attract customers, then is the time to start building up credit and not get way in over your head and get credit cards. If you can, these sort of ones which are like 15-month purchase cards, you can get them from M&S. I think Lloyd's do one, Barclays do one, and there's one other who I can't remember off the top of my head. But I think, what's that bank? It's like a Monzo one. Something like Monzo. It might be Monzo or, you know, a Monzo-like bank, not Revolut either. It's the other one, I can't remember what the name is, but they do a 4-month one, I think. There's also PayPal Credit. There's PayPal Pay in 3. They all help, although if you're buying from Korea or Japan with PayPal, then they will put a 5% fee on that. And one more thing, just to add to this before I go, was about rip and ships. I have considered doing rip and ships, haven't done any yet. Consideration on that is because the profit margin on a pack is far greater than that on a booster box. Well, sort of 5%, 10% more maybe. And so the margins are better there. And you can do much more volume doing rip and ships as well. So that's something to consider that I will be looking at in the future. I've set up a Twitch to do that, and also a live section on my website where people can sort of buy booster packs only. And so that's something I want to do in the future. But again, you need stock to do it. And hopefully a variety of stocks. At the moment, I've only got Shiny Treasures EX here. However, I will be getting 2 more cases of Super Electric Breaker. I will be getting another Stellar Miracle, 2 Rule of the Black Flame, I think, Mask of Change, V-Star Universe, and something else. Can't remember right now. But yeah, that is everything from this 6-week update, first full month update, 2024 update. We will see what 2025 brings. I hope these are useful to somebody from the business side or just interested in Pokemon cards, how the Pokemon card market works from I suppose, not the investing perspective, but just consumer perspective. If you would like to support the channel, then comment, like, subscribe. Social media is linked down below. Follow on your favorite one. I suggest Instagram, but if you like TikTok, then videos are there as well. Instagram, potentially at some point there'll be a Q&A and then answer videos about that. But if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I will get back to you. If the question needs it, then I'll do a video on that. I might do a video on Instagram paid ads as well, just because it's quite an interesting topic. I think there's a lot of nuance there to talk about and just to go through sort of an Instagram strategy, although I don't really have one. Well, I do, it's content, and then to looking at a few metrics to see what does well and sort of going from there. But in terms of sort of developing a content creation strategy, I don't really have that yet. It's just whatever comes into my head and I think is interesting, although I do use some sort of copywriting framework, so problem, attention, solution, and then whatever the other one is, the one which starts from sort of interest, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action, those ones. So those 2 are sort of ones that I've kept in mind. Looking at that and sort of, you know, what is it, Ogilvy, I think he was one of the sort of madmen, the ad men. So keeping that in mind as well, sort of seeing what they did. I think the Rolex and the Porsche ads as well. Have a look at those, old Rolex, old Porsche ads, if you want to look at sort of marketing, get some ideas from that. It's always useful. And so if you just write them out and then try and sort of, how can I put Pokemon in this? How can I Pokemonify this? And going through that. But yeah, so just try things out, experiment, be creative, upload whatever. As fun as you want it, as silly as you think it is, probably more likely to do well, because that's what sort of, there's probably someone else out there who finds it entertaining as well. Think about the comments you get, react to them, create content about that. Another great way. But yeah, so that's in terms of if you want to support the channel. Obviously, there is the Chase Club website, link down below as well. If you want to buy Korean or Pokemon or Japanese Pokemon cards, then yeah, you can do. We ship to the UK and Europe. Please be aware though, for Europe, obviously the international shipping fees are higher, and there will be customs duty to pay as well, which is the VAT rate for your country, basically, potentially a flat fee as well. It really depends on the country, so please look that up before you buy and be aware that it will be taken into account. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. that was my first video of 2025, but also the update, bring on 2025. We'll see how we do. Been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one.